So I know you were aboard the USS Cape Johnson.
I was.
Can you tell me about some of your primary duties aboard the
Yeah,
ship?
sure. I'd be very happy to. That was after the war with Japan ended. And don't forget, we were fighting Japan in all various islands in the Pacific. And the Pacific, incidentally, was beautiful. It's just as the word indicates, Pacific, calm. It was fantastic. And I served there. It was a troop carrier. The ship was built in 43, and I think by the Johnson and Johnson company. And it was a troop carrier. And when the war was ended, we were moving troops from island to island, and changing things like that. And it was my duty as a sailor to make sure to handle the ship and handle the troops that we were transferring from island to island. So we did a lot of island hopping. But how we ever, won that war, and we won it, of course, but how Japan ever decided, Japan's a very small country compared to America, where they had the audacity to attack America in Pearl Harbor. Why would they do that when they knew that ultimately America itself was 10,000 miles away, and there's no way they could win a war against a giant like that, and which proved to be true. But they were forced to do that. And at the time, I had nothing but hatred for the Japanese, for what they did to Pearl Harbor. We lost, 3,000 men in Pearl Harbor, or perhaps more. The Arizona still leaks oil. Have you ever been there?
No, sir.
Well, if you get an opportunity, go. How they attacked us, but they did. So I had a hatred for the Japanese that I had. In fact, when I enlisted, it was with the intense hopeful that I'd get an opportunity to kill Japs for what they did to America. Why they did that, I'll never justify. Politicians are the root of our problem with wars. Politicians, they lie to sustain their position, and we have no way of disproving it at that time. And that includes the Vietnam War and the Korean War. And certainly this crap that we've gone through for 15 years in the Middle East, Afghanistan and Iraq, we have no business doing that. I mean, we tried to change their way of life to conform to ours, which is a mistake. They lie. Propaganda was immense in my day. You can't believe some of the propaganda. One of the biggest things that I remember is that the government announced that an airman flying a fighter pilot drove his plane down the smokestack of a Japanese battleship. That never happened. It was never true. But it was that kind of thing that had me inspired. I was looking to kill Japs, to get even.
Do you still have that hate in your heart for the Japanese?
No. I do not have that hatred. People are wonderful, and that includes the Japanese people. There's no reason why we did what we did to Hiroshima, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is the belief is unpopular. When I was in Japan, before the war with Japan ended, we were slated to drive American troops in the LCT, which is a landing craft for the invasion of Japan, and it was predicted that we would all get killed. So, and that included me. But they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. The war ended in 8 days later. I was safe. But in retrospect, now that I look back, we killed 120,000 Japanese as a result of dropping those two bombs. Why am I critical? We dropped them on civilians. And before that happened, wars were fought by armies, army versus army, with the possible exception of Hitler sending all of those V2 things over in England, London. They could have dropped those bombs on military establishment and established the same damn effect. They killed people, 120 plus. They burned so many people, scarred for life. So, no, I don't have hatred for the Japanese people. They have nothing to do with, most people don't have anything to do with wars. It's the politicians that get us into the wars, and they control the facts. And they release what they want that benefits them. So I visited Japan. The Japanese people are wonderful people, very articulate, very clean, and it was a damn leadership that got him into trouble. And the same thing with Hitler. The Germans are wonderful people, and if it weren't for the Hitler, they would have never tried to do what they did.
Right.
And Roosevelt was president when the Germans, Hitler was nuts. And we have to be careful that we don't elect nuts, because we have a propensity to elect popular people for different reasons, which may include that they are nuts and we don't know that. So we have to be careful, because war is hell. And maybe we could avoid it. But at any rate, Roosevelt said he would never send American troops to defend foreign countries. Guess what? When it was, and I kind of believe it, and when it was needed, he changed his mind. We lost 462,000 people in World War II.
Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell for notifications. And also make sure to connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. For all of your business news, visit businessjournaldaily.com. For all of your arts and entertainment news, go to afterhoursyoungstown.com.